Did you know that everything you thought you knew about space is, well, wrong? That's right, get ready for a journey full of cosmic surprises. Forget about the yellow sun, noisy explosions in space, and even the idea of black holes as hungry vacuums. Today, we're diving headfirst into the biggest truths of the universe that will turn your mind upside down. If you've ever wondered whether the Big Bang was actually an explosion or if sound exists in a vacuum, this video is for you. And trust me, sticking around until the end will completely change the way you see the cosmos. Ready? Come with us to discover why everything you know about space might be totally wrong. The myth of the sun's color. Did you know that the sun isn't actually yellow? Yes, we all grew up drawing the sun as a yellow circle with rays around it, but the truth is much more interesting. The real color of the sun is white. What happens is that Earth's atmosphere plays a sort of visual trick on us. When sunlight passes through the air, it scatters, giving it that yellowish tint we're used to seeing. It's like the atmosphere is an Instagram filter that makes everything look more golden. When the sun is closer to the horizon, it looks orange or red because of the angle and the thicker layer of air the light has to pass through. Now, if you were to see the sun from space, without the atmosphere in between, it would be a big, bright white ball. Like those 10,000 watt LED lights you try to avoid staring directly at. This color-shifting effect, which seems so common to us, only happens because we live on Earth with this natural filter. So, the next time you're enjoying a sunset, remember, what you're seeing is a trick of our atmosphere. Romantic, but still a trick. The sun isn't on fire. If you still think the sun is a giant ball of fire in the sky, get ready for a revelation: it's not on fire. No roaring flames like the ones we see in campfires or barbecues. What's really happening out there is nuclear fusion, a much more impressive process than any flame we've ever seen. Basically, in the sun's core, hydrogen atoms are fusing into helium, releasing an absurd amount of energy. Sound complicated? It's like a nuclear magic trick, but way more dangerous. And the best part? This nuclear fusion has been going on for billions of years and will continue for billions more, so no need to worry about the sun going out anytime soon. Also, forget the idea that the sun is a ball of gas on fire in space, because without oxygen, you couldn't have fire up there. It's like trying to light a match underwater. Nuclear fusion is a whole other level. It's what keeps the solar party going, sending light and heat our way in a much more sophisticated way than just burning. Black holes aren't deadly vacuums. Okay, I know you've probably seen a black hole in movies and thought, great, if that gets close, it'll suck everything up mercilessly. But the truth is, black holes don't work like those superpowered vacuums we use to clean the car. They're a lot calmer than they seem. Gravity around them works like any other gravitational force. If our sun turned into a black hole, which, don't worry, won't happen, Earth would continue orbiting just fine, without being sucked in like into a giant drain. The key is the famous event horizon, which is like the finish line of a black hole. If something crosses that boundary, then yes, there's no turning back. But until then, you're relatively safe. It's not like the black hole is stretching out its hand and pulling everything in. Gravity attracts, sure, but just like Earth attracts you and your furniture. So, no need to panic. Black holes aren't going to go around sucking up everything and everyone like a hungry monster. They only do that if you get too close. Explosions in space. If you've ever watched a sci-fi movie, you've probably seen those incredible space explosions, full of fire and noise. But the truth is, explosions in space are very different from those that happen here on Earth. Without oxygen, there isn't that combustion we see in movies. In space, if something explodes, like a spaceship, it's more like a release of energy and debris flying around than fire and smoke. Imagine popping a balloon, but without the puff we're used to. The explosion is silent and visually cold, at least in terms of fire. And there's more: without gravity to pull debris back down, everything just floats around. It's like throwing confetti into the wind, but it never falls. So, when a spaceship or star explodes in space, you don't get that dramatic effect you see in movies, with flames shooting in all directions. It's more like a quiet release of energy that spreads without much glamour. Anticlimactic? Maybe. But still, explosions in space are way more mysterious and unpredictable than any action movie could portray. The truth about the Big Bang. When you hear Big Bang, the first thing that probably comes to mind is a colossal explosion, right? But the truth is, the Big Bang was nothing like that. There was no big boom as if the universe were a giant firecracker going off. What actually happened was more like an incredibly rapid expansion of space, something more like a balloon being inflated than a bomb going off. So, no sound, no explosion, just space spreading out in all directions. Imagine this: the universe started tiny, smaller than a particle, and then suddenly, bam! It began to grow. There's no central point where everything exploded because space itself was expanding. Confusing? A little bit. But the key idea is understanding that the Big Bang was an expansion, not an explosion. The universe just kept getting more and more space, and we're still riding that wave of cosmic growth today. If you were expecting something more dramatic, sorry to disappoint, but science has its own way of being incredible. Sound in space, a Hollywood myth. If you're a sci-fi fan, you've probably seen those epic space battle scenes with explosions and that booming sound. But here's a shocking fact: in space, no one will hear you explode. Literally. There's no sound in a vacuum. Sound needs a medium to travel through, like air, and space has none of that. It's absolute silence. So all those noisy explosions you see on screen are more of a poetic license by Hollywood than anything based in reality. If it were realistic, explosions would just be flashes of light and floating debris, without that satisfying boom we love. But who wants to watch a movie without that awesome explosion sound, right? So, the movies give us that little sound gift to make the experience more exciting. But in real life, it would be a much quieter battle, like watching a fireworks show, but with the sound off. Counting stars isn't impossible. Who hasn't looked up at the night sky and wondered, how many stars are up there? It seems like an impossible mission, but believe it or not, people have tried to count. With the naked eye, you can see around 5,000 stars if you're in a very dark place, far from city lights. Sounds like a lot, but compared to the billions of stars in our galaxy, it's like counting grains of sand on a beach. Scientists, with the help of powerful telescopes, have done this counting much more precisely, but for us mere mortals, those 5,000 stars are already quite a sight. And now that you know this, the next time you're lying on the grass staring at the sky, you can impress your friends with this fun fact. And who knows, maybe even challenge someone to count them too. Spoiler, it'll take all night. Dead stars in the night sky, debunking the myth. You've probably heard that the light from stars we see in the sky comes from stars that have already died. Sounds kind of poetic, right? But it's mostly wrong. Most of the stars we see are still alive and shining, going strong. Sure, their light takes years, even centuries, to reach us, but that doesn't mean they're already dead. Light travels fast, but not fast enough for all these stars to be dead, like cosmic ghosts. In fact, for us to see the light from a dead star, it would have to be much closer to Earth and have exploded recently, which isn't the case for most. So, don't look up at the sky with that melancholic feeling that you're only admiring luminous memories of the past. The stars you're seeing are still putting on their show, alive, bright, and sending light for your personal sky show here on Earth. Speed of light, the ultimate barrier? The speed of light seems like that unbeatable thing, right? After all, nothing can go faster than it, right? Well, kind of. Light travels at about 300,000 kilometers per second, which is insanely fast. But the universe has a few tricks up its sleeve that might surprise you. For example, space itself is expanding, and this expansion can surpass the speed of light. Not that any object is moving faster, but the space between them is growing. So, while light is the limit for anything physical in the universe, the very fabric of space can, in a way, cheat and surpass that limit. So, if you were thinking of building a car or rocket that could break the speed of light, you can forget about it. But the universe still has its ways of bending the rules, even if it's in cosmic expansion. Traveling at the speed of light, an impossible dream? If you love science fiction, you've probably dreamed of traveling at the speed of light. But then science reality comes along and throws a bucket of cold water. Objects with mass, like spaceships or people, like you and me, can't reach that speed. That's because the faster you try to go, the more energy you need. And as you approach the speed of light, the amount of energy required goes to infinity. And as far as I know, infinite energy isn't available at the supermarket. What Einstein explained to us with his theory of relativity is that as we get closer to the speed of light, our mass also increases. This means that for a spaceship to reach that speed, it would need an infinite amount of fuel, which is completely impractical. So, even though movies and shows love to show us super fast travel, physics is very clear: this speed is an impossible dream for anything with mass. But who knows, with other technologies, we might get close, right? Before you head off exploring more about the universe, don't forget to check out our latest video about the most bizarre planets in the universe. Seriously, you won't want to miss that. So, what did you think of these space facts? Were you surprised by the true color of the sun or that the stars we see are still alive? Leave your comment below. I want to hear from you. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. There's a lot of amazing space stuff coming up, and you'll want to stay on top of it all. See you next time.